Is Weapons 2 good? That is the question of this video and my review. Weapons is a new horror movie made by Zach Cregger, the same person that made Barbarian, which is also a very good movie. And if you don't know Weapons, Weapons is a movie where a group or classroom of students in a city called Waybrook go missing at 2:15 at night. And the whole premise of the movie is you're watching all these people and you see their perspectives, their point of views on these different things that are happening. And you get clues on what's going on, who did this, why they're doing this. And there's a big cast like Josh Brolin as Archer Graff, the father of a kid named Matthew, which is one of the missing children. You see Julia Gardner as Justine Gandy. Justine Gandy is the teacher of the classroom of kids that went missing. There is Eldrin Entrich, which plays a cop that is also in a relationship with Justine. You see Austin Abrams, playing James, which is a drug addict that is on the street, and you see how he, even though he isn't like a cop or someone that works at a school, you see how this drug addict, this random person, almost solves this whole thing. You see Benedict Wong as the school's principal, one of the possessed people, and Amy Madigan as Gladys, the main villain, or the witch, as they call it in the movie. She is the one possessing all the kids. But that's the main synopsis. Is the movie good? In my opinion, the movie is one of, if not the best, horror movie I've seen in the past 2 years. And I'll explain why. Each perspective of the characters, you see their feelings, you see how everybody in this movie has like this big one line. They're all connected together. You'd think it's, oh, there's a drug addict and a teacher. How are they going to connect? They may not meet, but they both do a lot for the story. And even if they aren't one like team, they all are together like a team. They don't meet, they don't talk, but they mean something to the story. Let me talk about one of the main things of this movie, the horror. This movie is scary. I'll say that. You see the horror, and the main horror of this movie is the gore, the bloody, the feeling of what's gonna happen next. What's gonna happen to these characters? Will they die? Will she die? Will he die? We don't know. So that feeling kind of amps up your experience in the movie. So I feel like it's better to watch it in a movie theater. And my movie theater was also very energetic, and they were all very active during the movie. So you felt that feeling and that scare, that umph that adds up in the story. So let me say, many of the characters die, including Benedict Wong's character, the drug addict, and the cop. They die brutally, of course. And that adds more scare, in my opinion, to the movie, because you're seeing these people die in such brutal, brutal, brutal ways. And it's hats off, crazy, and it, in my opinion, made the movie 10 times better. Because you see these characters and you see their lives, and then 1 second you're seeing, oh, he's in love with this guy. They both love each other. They're gonna live happily because they love each other. They want to do that. And then 10 seconds later, you see one of them killing the other. And it's like, wow, that's scary. And the ending, which this movie does have comedy. There's some comedy parts, including James's Austin Abraham's character. He is probably one of the funniest characters in this movie. He has some lines that my whole theater would laugh at. And the ending is probably a mix of sad, and it's also funny, because spoilers ahead, but even though I already said spoilers before, Gladys, at the end, they get all the kids that are possessed by her with her like voodoo and stuff, and they break it, and all the kids run after Gladys, the old lady, like across the city, and they're all chasing her, running through buildings, running through everything, and she's running, and then she trips, falls, and gets tore apart. That scene was so funny because it's like she's running for her life, and you're seeing these kids run through windows, run through doors, like so effortlessly, and it's so funny because you hear her screaming and like shouting, and it adds that feeling, it adds that like funniness, the laughter into it. The movie ends abruptly with Josh Brolin's character finding his son Matthew, and then he carries him and then walks off into the camera. Movie ends. So, in my opinion, there were bad things in this movie. Very bad things. I felt like some characters, they all got spotlight, but they didn't get the best spotlight they could have. Some characters had very, like, quick segments and perspectives, and some characters got, like, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Like, for example, Benedict Wong, 8 minutes at most. But the kid, which is the kid Gladys kept alive and didn't possess, because it's her grandson, he got like 40 minutes at the end. The whole ending was from his perspective. And some of the other characters, but it was mainly his perspective. And I felt, come on, they should all get like 20 to 15 to 20 minutes of just their perspective. Not other people's perspectives are the main focus of the movie, and these other characters like washed aside. I felt like that, and the pacing too. The pacing was too quick, too like quick, and some parts were too long. And I felt like that kind of like ruined the vibe for me in some points, because I felt like, when are we gonna get to the next character? When are we gonna meet the next character? And in my opinion, I didn't really like that. And let me get on to my actual review and my ranking. Weapons, in my opinion, has a like, I would give it a 6 out of 10 to 5.5 out of 10 on the pacing. For like the characters, I would give it a 8 out of 10 because there was some characters I cared about, like James and Justine, the cop, all of them, but there was some that I didn't care about, like the kid and Gladys. I only like Gladys because she was the villain and all that. For me, those characters, some of those had too much screen time, and that's why I feel like I would give it an 8. And I also just didn't like how they acted, how they felt in the movie. I would give that, characters 8 out of 10. The theme of the movie, 9 out of 10. I felt the theme and like the feeling, because you're just in this random place. You're in this place that could be your town. One day, all these, like a whole classroom of kids in your town. This can happen in any place. So that just like makes it feel more realistic, more scary to you. In my opinion, in the horror or thriller side, 10 out of 10. It did that amazing job of just, they nailed it on all that, like horror, thriller, all that. I felt like that was probably the best part of the movie. And comedy, I would give it 7, because I don't want it to be a comedy movie, but there was some good comedy in it. Some jokes didn't really hit. Some of the parts were just felt off in a horror movie. And for me, I would give, my review of the movie is probably an 8.5 out of 10. It could have been a 9, but it was just that pacing that just kind of like ruined some parts for me, and it just felt like it wasn't the best it could be. Besides that, I felt Weapons is a very good movie, and if you liked Barbarian, and if you like Terrifier, this is those two movies combined. And Zach Kreger and the cast, they did amazing. And I'm so happy to see the Resident Evil movie being made by Zach Kreger later next year. So hats off to everyone that made this movie. And I'll make another video soon. I'll see you guys soon.